guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is DeLady and we are back with another safari boat ride episode. And in this episode, we're going to build a crocodile island, or actually a saltwater crocodile island. And this one is right after the hippo habitat boat ride tunnel that we did in the previous episode. And I actually was very surprised. The amount of support was insane on that video, so thank you guys so much for that. I think I kind of forgot how spectacular and awesome it was because we were building on it for a pretty long while during live streams, so it wasn't really new for me anymore, and it was quite a while ago, so I actually didn't really think that would be that special, but you guys really loved it. So thank you guys so much for that support, really appreciate it. So because that was a very special section in this zoo, I wanted to make sure that the next habitat would not be like super spectacular, like the same thing what I do with every other zoo. Like if you have like a big main building, you're not really going to build a big main building next to it, if that makes any sense. At least that is how I feel that does not really work in zoos. And even though this is not really a real zoo, but this is more of like a safari boat ride zoo, I wanted to make sure that like you have a good balance in between the habitat. So this one is going to be more calm and the next one is going to be again more spectacular. And I think having that balance in really works well, and like looking from a guest experience, I think this definitely works better. Like people can still enjoy everything to the fullest, but when they are impressed of one big habitat, they can like chill and cool down a little bit with the next one. And that is basically what I'm trying to go for, at least. So in this habitat, the river section is going to be split into two different rivers, and we're going to have this island in the middle where the crocodiles can sleep and rest, and there are some enrichment items on it to give them a little bit of joy and some interesting stuff, of course, in their habitat. And first I wanted to have the boat ride maybe going around the whole island, like having the track going over each other, colliding with each other on one side. But then I thought like, wow, I don't know. I think it's better for the crocodiles to have more of like a calm and relaxing section on one side of the river. I think we should use that in advantage for the crocodiles to really enjoy their habitat, how they want it to be. And like they know on one side there will be boats passing by, and on the other side it will be more calm for them. So giving them an option of where they want to stay. And obviously the whole section has a few smaller islands on the edges, or like raised terrain I should say. I'm not really sure if I should call it islands. But yeah, just giving them more options to chill and relax wherever they want to be. But there is also going to be like more of a main terrain section where also the gate for the keeper is going to be. So that one is a more bigger area for the crocodiles to walk around and to sleep. But mostly you will find the saltwater crocodiles swimming around. I really noticed that I barely saw any saltwater crocodiles being outside of the water. So they probably only go outside of the water when they need some food, because I'm not able to add any fish enrichment item, or what is it, underwater feeder it's actually called. I keep calling it a fish enrichment item, but it's an underwater feeder. But the water is not that deep enough at some sections, so and in the end we don't really have an underwater viewing or anything, so I would more use the underwater feeding to really drag the animals down towards like a glass wall where people can see them up close. But in this case that's not really the situation, and you would actually want to have the crocodiles more being on the surface of the water because of the guests that can see them. But yeah, sometimes they will be swimming around deeper in the water, and then you will see like the bubbles on the surface of the water, which is actually also really cool. So that also gives like a glimpse of the saltwater crocodile still. So I started off, of course, with like a lot of rocks. Like I duplicated a lot for this habitat because it's actually alright to do that, because, well, as many rocks you duplicate, it doesn't really matter because they're basically hidden away with a lot of shrubs and a lot of trees and bushes and stuff. So that's alright, I guess. I just want to make sure that it has this very dense feeling that you're really going through some kind of tropical jungle or anything like that. So I'm really trying to get that dense feeling around this whole habitat and around this whole zoo basically. And as you could tell, I also tried to first paint everything with like a sandy color, but that was the idea I first had, like having more of like sandy beaches. But later on, and I was like, I actually don't really think that fits super well for these animals. I actually felt like the mud or mulch color is working way better for this habitat, and being it more of like a tropical jungle environment, I don't really see sand fitting too much in there, so that's why I quickly changed it already. So yeah, as you can tell, there is this bigger section which is the mainland area basically for the saltwater crocodiles, and that is also going to be the area where the saltwater crocodiles will get fed from the keepers. So obviously the keeper is not able to reach that little island, but thank God we don't have to pay attention too much to that in Planet Zoo, because Frontier made sure that the little islands will still be cleaned even though the keeper is not being able to reach it. Like any poop or whatever just vanishes into the ground, so it's not really a big deal. So I'm really happy with that. And on the island in the middle, I really wanted to make sure that you have like this feeling, just imagine yourself seeing like an island in the middle of the sea where no one is living. It's just, how you call it, a deserted island? I'm not sure. There is like this word for it in Dutch, onbewoond island, but I can't really think of the English word. But just an island where no one lives, and you see like this sandy beach, and then in the middle you see like this cluster of trees and shrubs and those kind of things. So that is something I had in my mind for that island. I wanted to make sure that the island from the left to the right, all around it, the saltwater crocodiles are able to walk around there and go on the island from each and every side from the water. But the middle section of this island is going to be very dense with like a lot of trees, like a really cluster of trees and bushes, to really get like that deserted island, or whatever we're gonna call it, to get that feeling. That is something I had in my mind. But obviously decorating it a little bit with like some rocks and those kind of things definitely gives that natural feeling of it. And of course I really wanted to use the orange flowers again, because I do so much love the contrast of those trees and those flowers in those trees with these type of environments. I really do like that. I like that even more than the flowers we mostly got into the game. I don't know, they just fit super well and they're so bright and give such a nice color variation to the area, so I really do like that. But obviously you have to be careful with putting down the rocks, because you really don't want to hurt their traversable area. I'm still trying to figure out with like those little aquatic rocks, which I also use for detailing, try to figure out like how much do they actually ruin from their traversable area. I can't really tell still at this point. I was using them also for a polar bear habitat I'm building for Pontasu, which will be up later on the channel. And I really sometimes don't understand, like at some points the polar bears are not able to walk over it, and some points the animals are able to walk over it. So I'm really not sure yet how they work exactly. If it's like a very big high cluster, you would expect them to maybe not be able to use it, and then they are able to use it. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's why I really try to still keep open areas in between all those small little rocks to make sure that the traversable area is big enough for the saltwater crocodiles in this case to walk around still and to not hurt anything, even though this habitat is definitely big enough for all these crocodiles. Normally you would add like 2 crocodiles, but obviously because this is such a big area and like we go for realism, and I'm pretty sure that I have seen documentaries. I'm not really sure if it's per se these saltwater crocodiles, but I'm pretty sure that I have seen documentaries with like a lot of crocodiles in the same region. So I'm not really sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the feeling I had when I was adding more crocodiles into this habitat. However, we do need to make sure that we are not getting any babies in this habitat, because as I mentioned in the previous episode with like doubting if I have to add any aquatic animals, the saltwater crocodile is the biggest diving animal in the game at the moment, but babies will already be smaller, and I think as soon as we have babies they will be able to escape from the area where the boat ride enters and exits the habitat. So I think that's going to be issues. So I think I need to give these crocodiles contraceptives to make sure that we don't get any smaller animals that are able to escape from the habitat. So yeah, I still haven't really figured out if there is a possibility, because I really I would love to add the giant otters in the zoo as well, and also the caiman, but the caiman is also very small. But I am so afraid that I'm going to have so many issues with a boat ride and them being able to just swim underneath the track or swim on top of the track, and like closing it all off doesn't make any sense to me, and I still want to have it all look natural and stuff. So yeah, I'm a little bit in doubt what to do with that, but I really would love to add the giant otter and the caiman as well. I might add the giant otter instead with like an underwater tunnel, like with the hippo, or maybe a little bit of variation with more like just on the side, some underwater viewing galleries inside of a tunnel, something like that. So I'm not really sure, but I do think that both these animals really fit this safari boat ride, and that does not really count for a penguin or a seal, so I'm not going to add those two in this zoo particularly. I'm not really seeing that happening though. So yeah, as you maybe could tell, like the underwater area for the crocodiles is definitely filled with a lot of aquatic plants, and of course also the smaller rocks to really give this a natural feeling, even though the guests will not be able to see it. Maybe if they look down into the water, they would see some kind of ground textures, so it still feels more realistic to still do the terrain underneath the water, even though we don't have any underwater viewing galleries right now. So I do really like how it all turned out in the end. And talking about the saltwater crocodiles and them being able to dive in this game, I think it's absolutely insane. I really love the diving animations of these animals. It looks absolutely fantastic, and this is actually the first time I was actually seeing these animals dive, even though I knew that they were updated already with the free update. I never really looked at them. I saw some pictures of Rudy and Camel, that was basically it, but they look absolutely fantastic. I did add one shot of them diving at the end of this video, so I really hope you guys like that. But yeah, I'm obviously super excited to know and to see what kind of animals will be added in the future. As Frontier stated, like the saltwater crocodile is the only animal right now that is updated from the base game, but there are going to follow more animals, and I really do hope, because I mentioned the polar bear, I really do hope that the polar bear will be the first other one that will be added, because I think the polar bears and diving will be super amazing. But obviously, if they're going to add those diving animations, they're probably going to be able to also update other bears that really do love to dive and to swim. But yeah, I'm just super excited to see what kind of other animals will be updated in the future and how long it's going to take Frontier actually, because I have no idea how much work and time goes into that. I can't imagine. It really is a lot of work to give all these animals some diving animations. At least not all the animals from the game, but the animals you would expect to see diving. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, but obviously an animal like a gharial, for example, is probably very similar to the saltwater crocodile. So I think that's also one of the animals that I see being updated first thing. But yeah, we just have to wait and see, I guess. So yeah, with the end of the video being here already, do let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of this new episode with the Saltwater Crocodile Island. Leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed, and subscribe of course if you haven't already. And if you want to see more Planet Zoo content, I definitely got you covered. You can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all those other social media platforms, so you can find all those links in the description down below. And if you want to support the channel a little extra, you may want to consider to become a Fay Fam member with the link down in the description or the join button of YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye guys!